Wunmi Mosaku, you play Ruby in Lovecraft Country. She's a singer trying to get by in 1950s Chicago, and she eventually discovers the wild possibilities of magic, and we will get into some of the wilder possibilities that she discovers. But first, what most excited you about playing Ruby? When you first read the script.
You know, I read the pilot and I actually didn't know it was a book when I first auditioned. So I read the pilot and I was so blown away by the meticulous detail. I didn't, in the pilot, I have basically one scene. Well, I say basically, it's written down as two scenes, but it's really one continuous scene. And just the information you get so succinctly and woven in so naturally, that sisterly tension. There's obviously an issue with their mother, their brother. She missed the funeral. She's not happy to see her sister in the way that you think she might do. But then also the instant connection, the instant sibling playfulness that you get, the kind of the hot and cold and the peaks and troughs of a sisterly relationship, just so clearly done in literally 2 pages, 3 pages, and then just the whole story. It just felt like a family drama, but it felt in depth, it felt rich, and then Shoggoths jump out. So I'm like, I want to be a part of this. Yeah.
And you mentioned that first scene in the pilot. Like, what's it like introducing Ruby in this kind of grand performance block party kind of way? Like, really, really, like she stands out. Obviously, when we first see her, it's a big bold showcase.
Oh, I just had such a ball because I had never done anything like it, like a block party with a band in period costume, and we were doing it all through the night. Like it was 2 days of night shoots. I don't know. It just felt like it definitely felt like a challenge. It's not something that, singing isn't my thing. I can hide my nerves as an actor. I can't hide my nerves as a singer. Like I'm not, what I mean? It's not my forte, but I really loved discovering Ruby's voice because I had never found that side of my voice before. And so, yeah, just being in her skin and I don't know, Ruby's just, she's very different from me. She's bolder than me. She's louder than me. She's more, I think, more courageous than me, more daring. And so it was a huge challenge because walking up on that stage and singing to a crowd of people when, I used to always say, I'm not musical, but I can sing. And my vocal coach on Lovecraft was like, you really have to stop saying that. So yeah, just kind of trying to fill up that space. I loved it. I mean, embodying Ruby was just nothing more than just an honor and privilege, Yeah.
And from those, that first episode, and that first script, did you have any idea of what was in store? Like, had you talked to Misha Green about where this story was going to go for Ruby? And at what point did you discover some of the more daring aspects of this story arc?
I think it was my second audition that Misha and Jan kind of spoke me through Ruby's journey. Of the race switching, which was just like, huh? I didn't get it. Wait, what? How are you going to do that? What? Why does she do that? And so it took a minute, and it's really interesting when you get some big information like that, when you get it in front of your potential bosses, you have to really take it in your stride and like, oh yeah, oh, cool. Not ask too many questions, but ask enough questions. But like, it was quite shocking because I just wasn't expecting that. And actually, I think even my second round, I hadn't. No, that's not true. That's not true. I did know about the shoggoths, obviously, but I just didn't know about all of the, magic. Actually, at the end of episode 1, I was thinking it was like a family drama with vampires. I wasn't thinking of like the whole, magical aspect of it. So I learned a lot in that second audition.
And in that episode, Strange Case, where Ruby, transforms into a white woman, in addition to just the social aspects of it, she is learning what life is like to, as a white woman. Yeah, and she's getting places where she couldn't get into before. There's also like the visual effects elements, the makeup elements, the horror elements. Like, what was that like to interact with as an actor? Like being like occasionally covered in this kind of viscera that between transformations.
I did not enjoy that side of it. My thing, I hate sticky hands. Like I really have a thing about sticky hands. And I'm literally sticky from hair follicle down to tippy toes. And it was just uncomfortable. It was cold. It would dry, so they would just have to keep gunking you up like constantly. But like the other side of it, like watching Jamie Newman's physical work was really dope. And she was sat in visual effects for a very long time, poor thing. It was visual effects, special effects. I think special effects. I can never tell. I never remember which one's which. Is it one's before on camera and one's after camera? So I don't know. It felt like almost like almost like a school project, because it was like we were doing it together. We were, and we were learning it together. We were learning Ruby's transformation, physical, vocal, vocabulary, of that transformation with like our movement coach. We would sit and talk about, the differences of the life we experience as a black woman, as a white woman, Ruby's hopes, dreams, fears, and what and how different they are from Jamie's, Wumi's, Dell/Hillary. It felt like a collaboration, and we just felt like a collaboration of, I don't know. It felt like we were creating something together. You don't really get that as an actor, to create a character and with someone else. You don't get to do that generally, and unless you're in Lovecraft Country. It was fun. It was really fun, and illuminating and vulnerable, and painful and beautiful. It was all of many things, but from the gunk to the emotional journey of playing a black woman, shape-shifting, race shifting. It's an extraordinary journey. It is, and I did love it, even if I didn't like the gun.
And the show is obviously asking you to go to all of these different places emotionally, and all these places that like in our reality are not actually possible, like to imagine. like what is the kind of mental preparation, not just in that episode, but in general, as not just Ruby wrapping her mind around things, but also you as an actress trying to wrap your mind around these ideas and these situations?
Yeah, I mean, I think with any character, it's like, why would you do that? Why are they doing that? And trying to reconcile their actions that can go against you. I had so many issues with Ruby at the beginning. Like, why does she keep taking the potion? Why does she keep drinking the Kool-Aid? Like, stop. Why is she talking to this man? Why is she when she knows who these people are, like, why is she not just like with her sister? And you have to understand it, and you have to understand them and love them through all of their idiosyncrasies and mistakes and wildness. But I think I found it particularly challenging, like what thinking about what I would do as a white woman, what that means to even go there mentally, like think of that, what I would do as a white woman. And then you think like, well, I would be an ally and I would make changes. But sometimes, and then you're like, oh, you know what? Actually, I get it. And it takes a long time to sometimes it takes a long time to just get to the point of like, you just actually, I just want to be uninterrupted. I want to sit on a bench, eat an ice cream. That's actually what I want to do. And that was a really challenging discussion with Misha, because I didn't get her. I was like, here you have magic and you're seeking revenge, violence. I was like, I don't get it. Why isn't she like, I don't know, going to the White House? I don't know, like, I don't know what it is, but it's like, why isn't she doing something else? But then why should she? Maybe she can just enjoy it, the things that come with it, the privileges that come with it. And Misha always throws these huge questions up, like, maybe you do the thing that's wrong. And, it seems morally, like everyone was so disappointed and angry with Ruby when she went to Christina's after Emmett Till's funeral. But that line of like, you just want, and when Christina says, you want what you want, actually. That's why you feel bad. You just want what you want. You don't want to have to be part of this collective grief. And it's just huge. I really struggled with that scene too. I really struggled with it because I was just like, is that true? And it just throws up huge questions. Does she just want what she wants? Like, is she going to do something better with this superpower where people actually care for you? Or is she just going to enjoy it?
And I think I could totally understand where Ruby is coming from, just because she has had to struggle, and she has the sister, of course, who is sometimes around, sometimes is not. And I'm wondering, because I think a lot of why Ruby makes those decisions is in that relationship with Letty and in her relationship with her mother. That's why she wants what she wants, because other people took what they wanted from her in their lives. What was it like developing that relationship with Journey Smollett, that sisterly relationship, especially in episode like 3, where we get a much deeper understanding of their background, and you have that great scene where you're really telling Letty where she can shove it.
It comes, arguing with one sister comes naturally. It comes naturally. I have sisters. Journey has sisters and brothers, and that sibling rivalry, that disappointment, that expectation, that like, oh nah, they're just fucked up moments, or that kind of like, oh, I understand you because we have the same, you know, fuck ups that's happened just collectively in a family or whatever. Or you just understand each other without having to, well, you don't understand each other, but does it understand? I don't know if it's understanding each other, but it was just, we just talked, Jenny and I, we just talked. We talked about our siblings. We talked about sibling rivalry. We talked about becoming women, as a younger sibling and having an older sibling who doesn't, and then, when do they see you as a woman, and when do they see you as when does that change happen? We talked about it all very, very early on. Yeah. And so it was really easy. It's just easy, like it's and having someone as, lovable as Journey, you can get to those you can get that sisterly feeling very quickly. And then playing the arguments, not, Jenny and I didn't argue, but playing those arguments is just easy because it's like sense memory. I've had this argument, well, not that argument, but I've had these huge fallouts with my sisters, and, so it's just easy. It's just like, I know this. I know this disappointment. I know this anger. As I'm sure my sisters will say the exact same thing about me.
And at the end of the season, spoiler for anyone who hasn't seen the entire Lovecraft Country, but you're actually playing Christina at that point, because she has done something. She says she has killed Ruby, but we only have her word for it. We don't know for sure. What was it like playing Christina, and what do you think and hope for Ruby? Do you think if Lovecraft Country comes back for another season, will we see Ruby again? I kind of hope the answer is yes. What did you think about all that?
Yeah, I really loved playing Christina. It was interesting. I was like, oh, Jamie had a really big challenge on her hands, playing Ruby. And so when I got like episode 10, I was like, I just thought it was Ruby. And then the reveal, I'm like, oh wow, well done, Misha. um and I was like, Abby and I became very good friends as well. We spent a lot of time together as Ruby and Christina. And so I was trying to remember like her rhythm, how she talks, how she, like what are the things that that might not, someone might see if they were to rewatch it. Maybe they hear a phraseology or rhythm or something. But it was fun. It was fun doing it from the other side, like, yeah, and talking to Abby about her process, her character, her secrets and dreams and hopes and fears. And yeah, so I really enjoyed it. I really have no idea what season 2 would look like, because that's the most amazing thing about the show. So like you can go to outer space, you can go back in time, you can go anywhere, like you can go anywhere. So my only hope for the show, if there is a season 2, is that it is better and more and more and more and more and more and more, whatever it is, like whatever, well, that Misha taps into her genius, well, just keep going. You dig deeper, keep going, because she has some incredible ideas. And imagine, like you said, imagination, it's so key, and it's key to our success and survival as Black and brown folk too. Like, imagine this isn't just it, like imagine what could possibly be. yeah, like the I Am episode is will always be my favorite. The possibility, or that reminder of like we are, I am, and not just what they say,
I want to congratulate you on the season of Lovecraft Country and all the recognition you've received over the last year, the SAG nomination, the Critics' Choice nomination, the BAFTA nomination for His House, and fingers crossed, more to come this coming
Thank
season.
you.
So, and thank you so much for talking.
Thank you so much. Thank you.